applicant. Councillor Hale has requested the application to be taken out of delegation based on the noise and disturbance issues resulting from the extended hours. 7 letters of objection have been received against the proposal. Both applications for the change of use of private members' clubs and function venues, and both are subject to an appeal against their non-determination. The decision to allow or refuse these applications lies with the Planning Inspectorate. If members move with the recommendation or decide otherwise, this will be included in the Council's statement to the Planning Inspectorate. Application number 565 at North West House is for the change of use of the first floor of the premises from a drinking establishment to a private members' club and function venue. Application number 568 at 2 Grange Road is also for the change of use from a restaurant to a private members' club and function venue. In both cases, the proposals do not involve any external alterations, and the applicant has applied for both premises to operate from the hours of 9 o'clock to 12:30 Friday and Saturday, midnight, and additional extended hours on specific times of the year, including Christmas Eve until 1:30 and 2:30 on New Year's Eve, plus additional extended hours on the Sundays preceding Bank Holiday Mondays. The application sites are located within a key town centre where such uses can be acceptable, subject to them not creating a nuisance through noise and disturbance and on-street parking. The applicants have advised that the controls proposed will consist of staff ensuring that patrons at the entrance are only members and guests of the club or guests on a pre-arranged list for functions will only be permitted entry. Similar applications to extend the opening hours of these premises were refused by the Planning Committee last year. In addition, a recent decision by the Planning Inspectorate to approve an application for a change of use to a drinking establishment at the Red Door next door to one of these properties was subject to a restricted hour condition at 12 to 11:30 p.m. The inspector and Surveyor recognised that the potential for noise and disturbance could be mitigated by this planning condition, and this was considered to be reasonable and necessary in order to protect the living conditions of those nearby residents. It's considered that the change of use to a private members' club is compatible with other key town centre uses, which should be subject to a condition that controls the hours of operation in order to protect the amenities of nearby residents. It's therefore recommended that the committee endorse the recommendation to the Secretary of State that this application is approved subject to the attached conditions. Okay. Has anybody got any questions? I don't think there's no petition with it, so, and it's the Ward Council here. No. Ward Council, stop hiding in the back. Yeah. Jerry knows he's gone. Okay. Jerry, he's here before. No, just hope he's gone. Okay, Paul.
Thanks, Chair. Why wasn't this application determined? Why is it subject to an appeal for non-determination?
Through you, Chair, a request was made to officers by the applicants, Matthews and Goodman, to delay determining the application whilst additional information was put together. We agreed to that request, and on the 56-day expiry date, the applicants submitted an appeal against non-determination.
Surely that's a breach of good faith. Is there no recourse to us in law to do anything about that? Have we spoken with our legal department?
As I understand it, there is no recourse against that. We did try and work with the applicant. I did speak to the agent when we found out what they'd actually done to seek an explanation, because, like yourself, we thought that was a breach of good faith. We were trying to work constructively here, as we have with this applicant over the years, in relation to these applications to support the business. We're extremely disappointed that the agent and the applicant have taken the line that they have. I've made representations to them on that, but unfortunately there is nothing that we can do. Only to say that in future we will be very clear with applicants, and we will not get into a non-determination situation, in terms of that, and they'll have to understand that. But we have tried to work constructively.
Stuart.
I was just going to ask about the on page 16, the inspectors, the private inspectors considered hours of 12 to 11:30 to be appropriate. Why are we not seeking to mirror those hours given the precedent of the fire inspector as set there on page 16? What about conditions allows opening if you like from 8 in the morning to 11:30? The inspector seemed to think that 12 o'clock would work.
Sorry, through you, Chair. On the bottom of page 16, it just said the opening hours imposed were 12 o'clock, that's 12 midday, to 23:30, which is what we're proposing on these applications as well.
That's not what condition 2 says. Yes, which means that you're over the 8. We haven't agreed, that's agreed with ourselves. So,
through you, Chair, I think for uses of this nature in key town centres, our policy does say 8 o'clock till 11:30, and those hours have been applied elsewhere across the borough. But in this instance, the inspector felt that an 8 o'clock start wasn't appropriate. But I don't think we have a particular issue with an 8 o'clock start.
No, but we're not determining, so we're asking the planning inspector what they think and they thought once before, and they came up with 12 o'clock. Of course, if we were determining the application, then maybe we would have 8 o'clock, but it would be our policies, but what we've got in front of us is what the planning inspector thought. And now we're waiting for the planning inspectors to say, our view is that you should do this, this and this, and it appears to me we're not having regard to what previous planning inspector thought upon a similar application. Of course, if we were determined, it might be a different matter, but we're not.
Kat?
Yeah, obviously deputised on the committee, so I apologise for this silly question. But in both of these applications, the same representation was made that the applicants have failed to adhere to existing use conditions already. And it will be the committee, particularly in review of the line of those which seem
Through you, Chair, we are aware that there have been breaches of planning conditions at properties in and around this area, and where those breaches of conditions have taken place, we are quite properly and quite rightly engaged in enforcement. We can't determine this application on the basis that somebody might do something. If there is a breach of any condition that's attached, then we would have to properly follow the correct enforcement procedures.
Can I move forward here and move for approval of items 4 and 5?
We're going to have to take what each separately. Paul, have you got a comment?
Yeah, Chair, I know Denise wants to move the debate on, but I don't wish to sort of hinder progress at all, but I don't think we as a committee have yet voiced our views as to what's gone on and what is a prima facie breach of faith. I don't know whether the applicants are here this evening, but I think the message should come from this committee as well as our officers that what went on is not acceptable. And I would hope that any representations we make to the planning inspectorate we do make those representations and explain why it has come to them and it's not properly been decided by this committee as it should have been. It may well be they don't take that into consideration, but nonetheless I think we should make that clear as a committee.
I agree totally with that, Paul, and I was wondering, could the recommendation on number 2 be changed to 12 o'clock in line with what the inspector said?
Through you, Chair, if members feel that the 8 o'clock start is too early and it should be 12 midday, I want to recommend to the inspector that the condition should be midday to 11:30, and yes, we can alter that condition.
I don't know, the very fact that we've done that, I think would send a bit of a message that we're not happy both to the inspector and both to the applicants as well.
Paul's moving, I'll second that.
Okay, so we have somebody to move. Paul's going to move it, Sam's going to second it. Is that okay with the officers? Yes, there's no problem with that. Okay. Okay, so the recommendation now is that we approve along with the recommendations of the officers, but the recommendation to be changed from 8 o'clock until 12 o'clock. We're going to put that to the vote. We've got somebody to propose. We've got Paul proposed and a second. All those in favour of changing the recommendation to 12 o'clock? All those against? Thank you very much. Okay, so that recommendation is for the change of inspectors in line with approved from the officers. Okay. So, do I go straight to item 5? Item 4, so what we've done is we've approved item 4 with the removal of that recommendation. So we need to vote on the removal of the recommendation, I've been told. Is that right? We're voting on the recommendation as revised. Sorry. And two and two together is confused. So all those in favour of the recommendation as revised, can you please show your hands?
Do we need a mover on that one?
Do we need a mover or second? No, it's all been moved to second, doesn't it? Okay, so that's unanimous. That's item 4. We're going to move on to item 5. We've had the presentation. Are we going to do exactly the same, that we move it with the same removal of the recommendation? Can we just go straight to the vote? Same hours, same principle. Is the committee happy with that, or do we want? That's okay. We need a mover and we need a seconder, so we've got the same movers and seconders, Paul and Simon. All those in favour of number 5 with that recommendation removed. Okay. And all those against? Denise. So do you want me to vote on? Okay, can we all have a vote on the revised? The recommendation is revised, please. All unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, can we have a presentation for number 7, please?
Thank you, Chair, through you, Chair. This is an application to full planning permission for the erection of 125 new dwelling units on a cleared site which is bounded by Laird Street, Milner Street and Corporation Road in Birkenhead. The proposed dwelling to consist of a mixture of 2 and 3 bed housing, predominantly 2 stories in height, with a small number of 2.5 and 3-storey along Wirral Street. A small area of public space is proposed to the north of Laird Street Baptist Church. The majority of the site is located within an area allocated for primary residential. The principal residential development is therefore acceptable. However, the site frontage onto Laird Street is designated as part of a traditional suburban centre. UDP policy SH3 advises that individual residential uses can be considered in such areas where proposal forms part of an overall strategy of planned contractorship. In this instance, the assembly of the site has been undertaken by the developer in partnership with the local authority with the previous housing market renewal initiative. The Council's Cabinet has supported the intervention and the decisions taken. It's considered that the scale and form of the proposed dwelling must relate well to the surrounding property. Provision of a mix of house types in traditional form, incorporating palette of traditional materials, is considered to comply with the advice set out in policy HS4 and is therefore acceptable. Each dwelling will contain an off-street car parking provision which accords with the Council's current parking standards. The Council's traffic management has raised no objection to the proposal, subject to a condition for the provision of traffic calming measures. UDP policy GR6 requires the provision of open space within proposals for new housing, a specific requirement for children's play space. However, this does not apply where the dwellings to be constructed are within 400 metres of an existing accessible public open space of 1.5 hectares or above. In this instance, Birkenhead Park is within 400 metres of development, and the site also adjoins an area of public open space, including a games court. With regards to affordable housing, 24 units will be provided. This exceeds the requirement of the current SHMAR at 10%, and a condition has been applied to secure this provision. The proposed layout meets the required interface distances and will not impact on the amenities of future or existing occupiers. It's therefore considered the proposed development accords with the relevant national and local policy and would assist in the regeneration of an important brownfield site within the urban area. It's therefore recommended the application be approved, subject to the attached conditions and the securing of a 106 agreement for the delivery and maintenance of the small area of public open space.
Any questions? Recommendation is to... sorry, Stuart.
It's not my fault, it's George Davis's fault. In fact, he was here earlier, but just wanted me to apologise to the committee because he had to go. I suspect he was asking me because he did want to tune the influence of the member of the committee within his own party. I'm not going to tell you whether he supported it or not because I don't want to think so.
All right. So, is there any other questions, any other comments? Anita?
Can I just ask for a further clarification regarding the risk of flooding? What is it? How is that going to be prevented?
It's not a flood risk zone.
Right, okay. It says here, it's also noted that during severe rainfall events, the risk of flooding from overland and flow could affect the proposed development. So that sounds like it is flooding, isn't it? I'm on page 39 and I'm on section 4.
It's going to make decisions and A.
You're happy with that? And yes, happy with that answer. Any other questions? The officer's recommendation is for approval, so all those in favour of approval, can you please show? We need a mover and a seconder. Mover and seconder. Denise. All those in favour? Unanimous. Moving on to number 9. So presentation for now, please, Joe.
Councillor George Davis has asked this application be taken out of delegation due to the high level of public interest. Two letters of objection have been received. This application is for the amendment to a previously approved residential scheme. The principle of the development has been approved and the changes in this instance are to the design and scale of the 4 dwellings proposed and to the vehicular access points in and out of the site. The changes to the dwelling comprise the removal of a carport between plots 2 and 3 and the inclusion of a 2-storey gabled front to plot 1 and 3. It's considered that these changes are acceptable and the proposals are of a design and scale that sits well with the character of the main house. With regards to the amendment to the access arrangements, 2 previous applications provided alternative accesses. In 2009, an application for the site was served by 2 accesses. In 2012, planning permission was approved which gave consent for the widening of the southern access to allow vehicles to pass each other within the site and closing off the northern access with a static gate. This current application is to facilitate both access points as egress and entrances. The amendment to the access points have raised no highway objections. For these reasons, it's considered the proposal is acceptable and recommended approval subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you, Joseph. Any questions? Stuart?
Good night. I think I saw somewhere that those proposed have this as a one-way access and egress system. Would access be from the north gate or would access be from the south gate?
There's a letter from the applicants on the late rep that's stressful, points out that access
My feeling is that's the wrong way.
Happy with that, Stuart?
I hear the answer, I'm not happy with it, but
Any other questions?
Chair, just very quickly, at my briefing we did suggest that there was a one car access at the northern end, there was two car access at the bottom end of the site. Can you just clarify what was discussed at my briefing in terms of the road only being the width of one car at the top end of the site, but it enters into an area that is deemed possible off-road to pass each other? Can you just clarify that for us, please?
Yes, thank you through your chair. At the northernmost access onto Wethersfield, there's gate posts which are only wide enough to allow one vehicle to pass at a time. But beyond those going onto Wethersfield Road, the access widens out and there is space for two vehicles to pass. Regardless of that, there is good visibility for between oncoming traffic at that point. So my view is that the possibility of conflict between traffic going in and traffic coming out of the site at that point is very low.
I think the point of issue, Chair, was whether this should be a one-way road, which I think has been turned down. Just for clarification, it will be two-way traffic on the whole length of that road from inside, on the inside of the site. Is that interpretation correct?
Thank you through you, Chair. The applicants have made a suggestion that they operate a one-way system where they go in at the south and come out of the northern access, and I've got no objection to that. I don't see it necessary to have a condition to enforce that, but if they wish to operate in that way, I've got no objection to that.
thank you for that.
Stuart?
Sorry. Just, I mean, it does strike me that if you are to have a one-way system, it would be better all the way around. I appreciate from a highways point of view, both meet the standard, but perhaps the highways officer could comment. If you had the choice, which one would you prefer to exit from? I would have thought it would be the southerly one. The better exit, the southerly one.
I think, as I've said, Chair, I think either access to me is suitable for two-way traffic. But if the applicant wishes to operate the site in a one-way method, whether that's north to south or south to north, I have no objection to that.
Any more questions? Okay, we need somebody, anyone who's in favour of the officer's recommendation to approve. We need to thank you. We have a recommendation and a second. So we need to propose and second, so that's Pat and Denise. To propose and second. So all those in favour of the recommendation, can you show? I think that's... Oh, no, it's Stuart. I can't see Stuart. You're solving, okay. So that's... Okay, that's all in favour. Those against? Stuart. Thank you very much, Stuart. Okay, we're moving on to the category. Okay, so number 11.